All right, guys, today we're gonna rebuild the brake actuator on my 2009 Ranger boat. I've been having problems about the brakes not working that well, and so I decided to go ahead and rebuild it. This is an 80 LP model number for this brake actuator, and they don't make the whole assembly anymore, so you have to get the rebuild kit to rebuild it. So that's what we're going to do today, and hopefully it goes well because I need my boat this weekend. I got a fishing tournament, so let's get started and see if we can get this knocked out pretty quick. All right, the first thing we want to do is get everything unlocked. We got to unlock the nose part here, and we have to unlock the swing mechanism on this tongue. If you unlock this and pull this pin out, this tongue swings out the way for you can make that much shorter if you wanted to get it in a garage, or if you wanted to get the nose from not sticking out in the parking lot or something like that. And a lot of times these stick because nobody really ever takes them out, and mine's the same way. Let's get something to tap on it. So now we got that out, see, and this tongue swings out the way, which is going to help us get the electronics out, the wires, and the hose for the actual brakes. So we're gonna first, before we take this boat out, we're gonna have to disconnect the wires that's up under the bottom. For when we take it off, we don't have to try to hold and fight it, and the wire's still connected. So let's go up on the bottom and get that wires taken off. This bolt right here and this bolt right here, this is the bolts that hold the wires that goes to your blinkers that you connect to the boat, to the truck. We got to remove these out the way because when we take the tongue off the front of this this boat here, we don't want those wires to hold us up and be fighting them. So we're just gonna just loosen them up, get them out. But looking at this blue wire here, this blue wire goes to the backup solenoid on the brake actuator. We're not gonna get into that right now. Once we get to the bench, I'll show you more about that once we get everything apart. But okay, now that we got the wires disconnected on the bottom here, we're just gonna fish them back through the tongue of the boat here, where we can have them out our way, and they come through with no problem. So now that we got that those wires out, we got this brake hose that we need to disconnect from the actual brake actuator inside. Hopefully you guys can see this. It's a real tight situation here. If you can see that bolt on the end of that brake hose, it's got a, I guess what you call it, a coupler or a reducer to go into the actual brake reservoir. Then it's got a smaller end on it. That's I got a 3/8 that I'm using to take this smaller end off. The bigger end is a 1/2 inch and it's not moving, so I don't want to tear it up. But the 3/8 smaller nut is moving pretty easy, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that one off. But I can't take it off with the camera in the way, so I'm gonna just want to show you guys that's what I'm taking off. And you know, you barely gonna have to give it a 1/2 turn, flip your wrench over, get another grip on it, and flip it over again. You only have, you know, a 1/4 of a stroke. You just barely moving it, but it's coming out easy, so you shouldn't have too much problem with it. Okay, we're gonna take this bolt out. I'm gonna use my impact wrench just because I got one. This wrench right here is a 15/16 that I'm gonna use on the top. But this socket is 24 millimeter that's on the bottom. I'm pretty sure it's another standard size, but this fits on there and that's what I have. So that came out pretty easy. So now that we got that off, we can get our hammer socket. That's a new invention, the hammer socket. Now I think I need to get a real hammer and tap that up before we can get that nut out. This nut has never probably ever been out because I've never taken it out, and I bought this bolt brand new. So we're gonna get a hammer and then tap that out. Well, before we tap it out, we're gonna put the nut back on there before we won't damage the threads when we tap on it. All right, I found the smallest hammer I could possibly find, and we just want to see if we can tap that out. We're just being kind of stiff in there. What else we can use to try to there we go. I don't suggest you use a hammer and a wrench that way, but it worked for me. So now we got that big long bolt out of there. This tongue should come on off now, which it does. And if you look on the bottom, you can see where everything was. So we're gonna take this inside, put it on the bench, and see if we can't rebuild it. Now that we got the brake actuator on my workbench, I got it flipped over so we can see the underside, where we can see what we need to take loose to get the brake actuator out of this tongue of the bolt here. I see a bolt here with a Allen wrench in top of it. It looks like it's connected to the reservoir that the brake fluid goes inside right here, that's holding it, I guess like a spacer to keep it in the middle of the actual tongue for the slide in and out easily. So I see we're gonna take that loose, so we're gonna go ahead and get the Allen wrench and see if we can get that bolt loose. And it's kind of loose easy, which is a good thing. Come on, go ahead and take that whole Allen wrench out because it's connected to the reservoir and we remove it anyway. So now we got that out. As you can see, you probably can't see that because it's a little dark in here, but we're going to place that over here before we can find it when we need it. So the other thing that I see is back here in the back side, it's got a just like a, it's not a bolt, it's just a piece of metal bar that goes inside it that's holding the back of that reservoir to the tongue, and it's got two clips inside here that's holding that in there. So we're gonna have to get those clips out. All right, hopefully you can see that right here. It's a little clip, and on the other side it's another little circlip that we have to pop out. So let's see if we can pop this side out first. Okay, we did get that clip out. Now the other side, see if we can pop that out. No, I think it's coming out. Yes, it's almost out. Come on. Get out of there. Okay, we got that out. We got the other one out. So now we're gonna have to, looks like to me, we should better just tap that out. I got a center punch here with a small little hammer. I'm gonna just tap on that and see if what happens. Okay, it came out of one side, but Let's hit on it some more. There is 2 more clips that is holding that brakes, that bar inside that housing. I am going to need to get my hook pick to see if I can get in there and pick it up and see if I can get it off. I did get my little hook pick, and I reached down there and just see if I can just get it to move, and it actually just popped off. So that one came off easy. There's one on the other side here. It's hard to do this with cameras and lights and all that in the way, but I did get it, and it flung somewhere. But we'll find it. But now I should be able to tap that on through with no problem. Okay, it did come on through. Like I said, it's got 4 little places where these clips clip into. Okay, now that we got that that little bar out the back, it's moving freely back in the back. So now we need to get these 2 bolts off right here that we loosened while we had it on the boat. So this shouldn't be too big of a deal. But you want to remember where everything goes before you can put it back. And the kit comes with new bushings and lock bolts. So we should be able to just tap that out. I thought we would be able to. This bottom one comes out easy. What's holding the... This one looked like it's rusted inside of this. Just to show you on a new one, they got a bolt that goes through it's a spacer really, but it slides in and out that spacer. Here in the one in the front, looks like it's rusted inside of this spacer. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to get that out. Probably need a bigger hammer. Bigger hammer always works. Okay, after a lot of beating and cussing and carrying on, I got a bigger hammer and I got it to start moving. So now it's hitting the bottom. It's bottoming out. So hopefully we can keep tapping it on the side and get the same results. Whew. Yeah, it was just rusted in there. Rust can hold a lot of stuff in place. So we're going to use those blocks to keep it up. And we should be able to just slide it out. And as you can see, stuff is falling off the side of it. That's the little nylon slider that it slides on. It fell apart. But if we move this out the way here, and now we're going to look at the brake actuator. So okay, looking at it, like I said, you know, as you know, this is 2 parts. We got the reservoir, which looks like this. This is the new one. And we got the front that is connected to. We got, it's a bolt right here. See if we can get some light on that. It's a bolt right there that's got a little clip on it. We got to take that off. And we're going to get this circlip out the way first. See if we can turn it around. got that little circlip off. Okay, we gotta we got that bolt off, and see if I can just pull it out. As you can see, this is the old reservoir with the plungers on it. Okay, now that we got everything cleaned up, just sprayed some brake part clean on it, got all the grease and grump and all that good stuff off of it. Now we want to try to put it back together. If we look at the old one, we got the solenoid on it, which we got a plug right here where the new solenoid go in the new actuator. We just move that out the way, get the actuator, and take the little red cap off of it. But as you see in the inside of it, it's got like a little plunger. That what makes, when you put it in reverse, that plunger goes in, and then that fluid goes by when you put it in reverse, for it won't, your trailer won't lock up. The brakes won't lock up on it. So make sure you got this plunger in it when you put it on the actual actuator right here. So like I said, it's got an O-ring around it, so we just want to make sure the O-ring is in there good, and we want to just basically just screw it in. Make sure you don't cross thread it. There we go. Now that we got it started, you know, just want to screw it in, and it's got a flathead screw on top of it where you just use a flathead screwdriver and just tighten it down best possible as you can. So now we got that installed. Just got a little plug on the back side. We're going to keep that in until we get everything put together and get ready to put it on the boat, so we don't get any trash up in there. So now that we got that done, we want to go about putting it back in here. It's got a cap on it just to keep all the debris out of the reservoir here, so we're going to keep that on for right now. But we're just going to barely put it in there. And on the new one here, this screw that we took off this side didn't look like we need to take that off, so I just test fitted it a second ago, and it would slide on in there. So you got two slots where this slides on. Remember, now we're doing this upside down, so you want to have the reservoir facing down, and we just want to slide it. Okay, and I almost forgot to put the Mercy brake lever on the other side here. Remember, we got a spring that goes on this shaft on the other side of this bracket here, so we have to do this gingerly. Let's see what's the best way to do this. The best way to do this is probably I'm trying to do it where you can see it. Like I said, what I did was I just put the brake lever, make sure the tip of it is facing forward. We're just going to slide it down in this slot that it goes in, and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to put this spring in. I'm going to put the big end because it's kind of tapered. I'm going to put the big end on the bracket, and then the small end facing the lever, the brake lever. So if I can get that to hold in there, then I'm going to put the actuator inside here. Try to get all that line up in there. It's kind of awkward because I'm trying to hold the spring in there with the brake lever and the actuator. But if you just take your time, work it down in there, making sure the brake lever is not moving, the spring is still in there. And we'll get it in there just like that. I don't know if you can see that spring in there, but take my word for it, it's in there. So now that we got that, we can go ahead and put this nut on again. If I would tighten it the right way. That's the best thing they ever invented, was these ratchet wrenches. That saves you a lot of time and effort trying to tighten something up in a tight place that you can't get a socket in. Okay, now we're going to put this clip back in there. And that clip, I tried to tighten it up some because it was kind of loose on there, so I bent it. Hopefully it'll still go on there. Okay, I think it'll stay on there. I'm just going to try to crimp it down a little bit for it won't. Okay. Now we got the bolt in there. We got the little circ clip on it. We got the spring in with the emergency brake lever in it. Look like it's working pretty good. It's got not a lot of tension on it. And it springs back up how it's supposed to. So now that we got that, we got the reverse solenoid in. We are ready to put this back into the housing. The cap off here, I'm gonna get that out the way. But like I said, it's got some little locking tabs that go in these holes right here, and we want to just make sure we plop those in that hole. That way we know it's lined up. Want to get the cable in. Then we want to make sure everything the holes on the side here line up before we can put the bolts in that. But the first thing we want to do is put that. Let's see if we get some more light on this back side here. Put this in the back of this actuator. We put that in the back here there to keep this in place so it won't move in the back. So that's what we need to do here first. And it's got a couple of shirt clips that go on that. We want to spray that down because it has some rust on it. We just want to try to get all the rust off of it. And I'm going to spray it down with some of this light lifting grease. So for it to try to slide on in there. See, it slid on in there pretty good. Just trying to line the other side up. Now we want to put all the 4 circ clips that go on the back side of this thing. There go 1. There go 2. There go 3. Okay, there go 4. So that wasn't too bad. And like I said, I got 2 bolts that's got these slides on it. that these slides go in. It's got a grease cert on this side for you can just grease them up. So I'm gonna see if I can get this in here without having to take it apart again. There you go, just throw it in there. And this is going to be the tricky part. Don't forget you have to put this bushing on either side of this bolt. Okay, that's one side, and we're gonna put the bushing in on this side here. Then we got the lock nut that we put on. We're just gonna hand tighten it for as we can get it right now to get this other one in. Go ahead and put the bushing on for when I get it halfway in there straight before I can see. That wasn't too bad for that one. Okay, there we got that in there. We can go about tightening it up. All we want to do is just go ahead and tighten it down. We're going to play with how tight we need it, because we don't want to tighten it up too far and the inside of this won't move, but it's moving pretty good right now. So see, it's stiff now, so we need to loosen it up just a little bit. Okay, that feels good, because remember, you're gonna have your truck on it, so it's not gonna, you know, if you're trying to move it by hand, your truck is gonna move the whole thing with a bolt on it. So you probably want it a little stiffer than just with your hand. It's amazing that this wrench won't go on this side, but it went on the other side. I got that too tight now, it won't move at all. Okay, I feel good with how tight I got it now. Like I said, we got everything in, everything's tightened up, all the clips are on, everything's lining up top. Just want to make sure that's straight. And the only thing I don't have, I looked for it, was the emergency brake cable. I got to order another one until I find the other one or something. I've tried to find the right one that goes with this actuator. Once I get that, I have to take it off again and feed that emergency brake cable in here and get that right. The kit comes with a little cover that goes over this mechanism right there, which is good. And one other thing that we forgot to do was this Allen bolt nut here that keeps the spacing correct for that actuator won't go up, the reservoir won't go up and down. So we're just gonna screw that in there until we fill it bottom out on the bottom of that reservoir. I think that will be good. Won't move. Just put a little more tighten on it. Okay, I think we got that in. Like I said, now I can go ahead and clip off these little zip ties that's holding the wire on this actuator here. The solenoid in the back. That way I can crimp another end on it to match the one I got outside on the boat. Okay, now we're ready to take this back to the boat. Okay, we're back at the boat to put this brake actuator back on the boat. It's a lot brighter out here now that the sun's out. Before we go too far, we want to get that little red plug out of the back of the reservoir. You're just a little red plug. To put this back on, we want to get it lined up to get the boat back through it. And I cleaned this boat up on the wire wheel, and I put some lithium grease on it just to try to get it to slide on there. A little bit better. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Like I said, all we need to do is put the bolt back on the bottom here. And I'm just going to finger tighten that for right now, in case we have to take it back off for any reason. Now that we got that on there, we want to go ahead and hook our brake hose cable back up to the back of the reservoir here. Now that I got the brake line connected back to the reservoir, we're going to feed the cables back through for the backup lights and all that good stuff. And we're going to go ahead and put those back on the bottom. Remember, I had the two nuts that connected these to the bottom. Don't forget the ground cable up under this other bracket that hold the cable up on the bottom here. So don't forget to put that on there. Then we're gonna, this is the cable that goes to the backup not actuator, but the solenoid. So we're gonna find us a good length, and we're gonna cut this cable, this wire off that came with it. You see, it's super long, but we only need it, to be a couple of inches long. So we're gonna cut that off, and we're gonna put another connector on it to be able to go to this flat connector instead of this round one. So I'm gonna get that done, and we'll come back. Alright guys, I think we're done. I got the wires connected back up. I got the backup solenoid connected back. Got both bolts here in the back. I think the only thing we got left to do is bleed the brakes, and that'll be in the next video. So other than that, just let you know, I got the rebuild kit for this 80 LP actuator from trailerparts.com. They got all the rebuild kits for all the actuators. You can just go in there and you can get hubs and calipers and all that good stuff, because I had to order caliper for this boat also, but you see that in the bleeding video. But other than that, guys, I appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for you can see all the upcoming videos. And other than that, guys, I appreciate you watching. Until the next video, we'll see you.